From Washington, this is VOA News. The U.S. conducts a series of airstrikes in northern Iraq. Red Cross workers kidnapped in Afghanistan. I'm Vincent Bruce, reporting from Washington. U.S. warplanes conducted airstrikes Saturday in northern Iraq near the city of Irbil and a strategic dam in an effort to help Iraqi forces retake it from Islamic State militants. The U.S. military said Saturday 9 airstrikes destroyed or damaged armored personnel carriers, an armored vehicle, and Humvees. The officials said the airstrikes involved F-A-18 fighter jets and drones. The strikes provided cover to Iraqi and Kurdish forces fighting to retake Mosul Dam from militants who seized it earlier this month. The dam is Iraq's largest. It is in northern Iraq on the Tigris River. In other developments on Saturday, witnesses said Islamic State militants massacred 80 people, most of them members of the Yazidi religious minority, during a raid on the northern Iraqi village of Kocho. Also, Germany's Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier met in Irbil with the president of Iraq's Kurdish region, Masoud Barzani. Steinmeier said Germany has made extra humanitarian aid money available for people fleeing the Islamists. The International Committee of the Red Cross says it's trying to secure the release of 5 of its workers who have been kidnapped in Afghanistan. An ICRC spokesman says a local armed group kidnapped the workers on Friday in western Herat province. The spokesman said the International Relief Organization was working on multiple levels on Saturday to secure staff members' release. More details on these stories at voanews.com. There were tens of thousands of anti-government protesters camping out in the center of the Pakistani capital Saturday, and they said they will not disperse until Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif quits and new elections are held. Ayaz Gul has more.
A populist Muslim cleric Tahirul Qadri and opposition leader Imran Khan gathered thousands of their supporters in Islamabad at separate locations, prompting authorities to tighten security at key areas of the city. The two movements are not officially allied, but both want the immediate removal of Prime Minister Sharif from office.
So the whole process.
Addressing the gathering during a rainstorm, Qadri reiterated allegations that the national electoral process produces only incompetent and corrupt rulers.
So this parliament is never going to provide any kind of change in the life of 200 million people.
Interior Minister Nisar Ali Khan has warned protesters against any violence. Ayaz Gul for VOA News, Islamabad.
A large Russian convoy remains stalled near the border with Ukraine, awaiting security guarantees to allow it to cross into Ukraine with humanitarian aid. Nearly 300 trucks are parked outside the Russian town of Kamensk-Shatinsky, awaiting clearance to pass into eastern Ukraine. The International Committee of the Red Cross would then have the responsibility for distributing the aid to Ukrainians caught in the middle of the conflict with Ukrainian forces and separatists. Saturday, the head of the ICRC delegation for Russia said Moscow and Kiev have agreed on how to proceed in terms of clearing, inspecting, and preparing the goods. He noted the security guarantees were needed from all sides before the trucks could move. The head of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies says he is optimistic that Ebola, decimating people in West Africa, can be defeated. Lisa Schlein reports for VOA from Red Cross headquarters in Geneva.
More than 1,500 Red Cross volunteers are working in Ebola-affected communities in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. Secretary General of the International Red Cross Federation, El Haj Assi, says he is humbled by the work they do.
I don't know how I would look like if 6 months after Ebola, then I come to say thank you. And while during the time when they were on the field, risking their lives and doing the best they could, and I sit in Geneva all the time.
C says volunteers are coming from 17 different countries around the world.
And I think that showed a very strong sense of solidarity.
Lisa Schlein for VOA News, Geneva.
A state of emergency has been declared in the U.S. state of Missouri, and a curfew imposed in the town of Ferguson, Missouri, following another night of clashes sparked by the August 9th shooting death of an unarmed African-American teenager by police. The state of emergency, not to silence people, but to contain a handful of looters who endangered the community.
That's the latest world news from VOA.